Over 1,000 years ago, in a world where gold, silver, and metal coins seemed to be the only way to trade, a new idea was born in China, an idea that would change the course of global history forever: paper money. Picture this: a bustling market in the ancient city of Chang'an. During the Tang Dynasty, in the 7th century, merchants arrived from faraway lands, carrying spices, silk, porcelain, and countless treasures. The problem: coins were heavy. Transporting large amounts of metal was slow, exhausting, and, worst of all, dangerous. Thieves lurked along the trade routes, ready to steal bags full of coins. To solve this, Chinese merchants came up with a clever solution. They began using receipts written on paper, basically promissory notes that represented the money they had deposited with a trusted banker or merchant. At first, these slips of paper weren't seen as real money. They were just proof of value stored somewhere else. But soon, people began trusting these notes because they were lighter, safer, and much easier to carry than boxes of bronze or silver. The Chinese government noticed, and during the Song Dynasty, in the 11th century, the first official paper money backed by the state was introduced. It was a revolutionary step. For the first time, wealth wasn't measured by the metal you could touch, but by a simple piece of paper that symbolized value. Imagine how shocking this seemed to outsiders. When Marco Polo traveled to China in the 13th century, he wrote in awe about banknotes made from mulberry bark, stamped with red seals, and signed by imperial officials. To Europeans, still obsessed with gold and silver, the idea sounded almost magical: an entire empire running on money made of paper. Picture a foreign merchant watching a deal in a Chinese market. Instead of exchanging heavy coins, people handed over small slips of paper, and those slips were powerful enough to buy food, fabric, even horses. What we take for granted today was, back then, a complete revolution. Of course, there were challenges. Printing too much money sometimes caused inflation. The value of the notes could fall if the government wasn't careful. Yes, the same problems central banks deal with today already existed more than 1,000 years ago in imperial China. Still, the impact was enormous. The idea of paper money spread along trade routes. Even though Europe would take centuries to adopt it, the seed had been planted. Every time you pull a bill out of your pocket, you're holding an invention that began in China more than a millennium ago. Paper might seem fragile. It can tear, it can burn, it can vanish in the rain. But behind that fragile piece of paper lies centuries of history, of innovation, and of trust. Because in the end, money is only as strong as the belief we place in it. And that was the story of how the very first paper money changed the world forever. If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. There are so many more fascinating stories waiting for you, and I promise you won't want to miss the next one.